Hello everyone, it is Kim, and this is the first episode of Animabus Damnatis, which means lost souls in Latin. And I'm very excited to get started on this first episode that I really just feel it's going to apply to different topics in a conversation. So I really am passionate about mental health and health in general. So let's get started on the introduction, which is who am I and what am I going to contribute here in this podcast. So my name is Kimberly Rose and I'm 19 years old. I am Filipino American and I'm currently living in the Philippines, and I just really see a lot of things, and I'm the type that really, if see something, I gotta fix it. I feel like Sailor Moon at the same time. So let's talk about mental health here. So I'm so far from being a psychologist, and I am kind of just figuring out what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going in my life, and I may sound like I have an idea, but honestly, no. In fact, I would rather admit that I have no clue rather than to just, fake it and pretend that I have and everything is like okay to the eyes of the world. And it's so important to try, to have passion in life and to look forward to the things that make you happy. And for me, it tags a long way because happiness is so broad. So let's just understand the artificial definition of mental health first before we can have an opinionated one. And they say that, or Google says that mental health is the scientific study of how our mind processes things, or how our brain processes different things, whether it's emotional, cognitive, everything that is up there. So in my case, or in my opinion, that mental health is a delicate piece of like a little powerhouse in our head, like that controls so many things and applies to who will be in the future. So right now is kind of important. Like, I have read a few journals back in 2016. So this is kind of scary to expose this online, but I was very sensitive. I was very shy back then. I had low self-esteem. I didn't really know who I was. I was just trying different things growing up. So I was trying different skincare brands. I was trying to fit in different groups. I was trying, and it became really exhausting because I thought if I didn't had friends or whatever that is gonna bring me happiness, I thought if I didn't had it, I would just not be happy. But then when you're older, you kind of realize that happiness is really simple, but it takes hard work. And the main mistake I did when I was younger was that I would just wait to be happy, and oh, if I have this and that, I'll be happy. And because my family kind of separated, and we're going all over the place, and I didn't really know how to deal with school. I just lost my concentration and always pitied myself because of my family and what we're going through. And every kid yearns for attention, and that's pretty much the main thing I want to clear out, is that attention is kind of normal, but you need to analyze where it gets very toxicating to ourselves and our mindset of it. So that's why social media is also can be dangerous at some point, because we're all in this kind of whirlpool of attention. And I was one of them. I would post every single day, and I would just feel so, it felt like a job. It's like a job for me to post something, and and it's for other people to get approval or validation. But you're learning. I'm trying to be nice to the things that, or parts of me that is still trying and learning. So I've learned to forgive who I was, and so I've obviously learned to like not chase happiness, not chase or force relationships, because that will just deteriorate our mental state. Like, we're just trying and we get exhausted. So I remember I would really like save up just so I can like meet out with friends, and like I would literally like be the nicest girl, and I would try to like earn my allowance to really meet up with people and like have the idea of a good time. But then really I felt like I was just entertaining them and just like kind of it's okay to be entertaining, and but people should be like vice versa, and not always you should be like, I don't know, I would say the entertainer, because people should also know how to give back. And there were many cases where I was just make people laugh, or like I would just really entertain them, but then for me I really would feel bored. Yeah, I get really bored easily for some reason, so I am very picky now with the people I be with, and that's how it should be. I mean, I'm not saying you have to be picky, but I'm just saying to really choose who your friends are, because you really become who you surround yourself with. And a lot of people say that, and I totally agree. So back then, I never really understood what value was. And they teach values in school, and I don't know if people apply it really in reality. But I really pray that people really get into values, and people should really, like, internalize what values are in people and what is the core values that shouldn't be changed, especially for anyone. Like, you should never change for anyone, and I realize that now, or should have realized when I was like 13. Like, my values, I probably didn't knew, or I never really understood what my values were, but now my main values has definitely become to never change for someone, or like be yourself and always be kind, like, no, regardless of who that person is. And you should never like judge anyone because of their background, or because of something that happened in the past, because I believe people obviously change. So who we are today is so different from who I was yesterday, and like no one has the right to like judge you. And sometimes we are the ones judging ourselves and comparing ourselves online. So what I do when I get, or I feel like I'm just comparing myself to other people, so what I do is I look in the mirror and I write down in a notebook or paper the 5 things that I love about myself. And this exercise, I don't do it every day, but I do it when I get into this very negative comparison. I really have to force myself to like shift my mindset to the things that I love about myself. And so that thing, or that exercise, really helped me in kind of being confident, regardless if I had makeup or not. I think it's important to have a good belief system, and I obviously get negative days. Like, there are days I just want to just get away. I want to like I'm just angry for like no reason, or maybe my hormones are imbalanced. So, you just need to be chill, like be kinder to yourself, and learn to not beat yourself up for something that's so silly, as like, comparison, self-criticism, body shaming, or like just dealing with these negative influences or negative voices in our head. So I am just like any other girl is struggling with anxiety, and like I always just do things because I'm afraid of not achieving things, or I feel very far behind. And the fact that I dropped out of high school, and I feel like I am just losing my sanity sometimes. So I really want to encourage you to be open about your anxiety. So one time in class, I think it was something called personality development class, and I just started to just bawling out of nowhere because the teacher was saying that your bag reflects who you are, and like your closet if it's messy. So I obviously knew that I was a messy person, and just because my bag was like internally messy, I just felt like a failure, or I felt like I am not I just feel like a loser. So then again, it wasn't really the teacher's fault. It was just my mind or my conscious level telling me that I am a loser, or like I am a horrible and messy person. And so I just probably took it personally, and I reflect upon it a lot. So again, you are capable of change, and I obviously realized that like I can actually change, and just because you are messy right now doesn't mean you'll be messy forever. So I had to internalize it and have a better belief system. So a lot of times it's not even about us or about you. So try to not take things personally, and trust me, you'll feel a lot better and like not go crazy over something that's so minor. Speaking of minor, sometimes I do feel very small, and like there's so many big things that I don't, or I just usually feel anxious about being part of something big and something that I'm very uncomfortable of. So we have to get uncomfortable in order to grow. And there's a lot of situations. An example would be Greta. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she stood up for climate change, and she did something uncomfortable, which is going. Not a lot of people were protesting, but she started to protest and fought for what she believed in. And to me, that is a great example of getting out of your comfort zone and starting to slowly change the world. Again, we cannot change alone, and it's not, I would say, the best idea to go alone. It's always important to have support, whether it's from your friends, your family, and most importantly, to just also have the belief that you can support yourself in terms of like emotional or things that requires motivation. So, how I personally shift my mindset from being completely negative. So, I've learned over the years to really feel what I'm feeling and not be ashamed about it. If I do feel very gloomy, I'll just be gloomy, and like I don't want to like hide it, or I don't want to like save it for later, because saving it for later causes so many damages to a part of us that, is so delicate and vulnerable. So when I was 16, I thought being vulnerable was like bad, or just like kind of annoying. Like to ask deep questions, to take care of people, to check in with them. And being vulnerable is the complete opposite. It's just being fond with other humans and being fond of being human. So just don't ever feel shame about it. So it doesn't have to resonate with anyone, but it has to resonate with yourself. At least once or twice a week, I would ask myself or write it down in a journal, like, why am I doing this, and like where am I going. And these kind of exercises really help us just be more aware of where you are and where you'll be if you continue to do so. So then again, I'm just a girl trying, and I know you can too. Listen to yourself more often. And also to not waste time while you're young and just make the most of it. So, thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys soon.